making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
Alrighty, good morning from Paradise Surfers. Happy Monday. It is October 27th, and we have a great show for you guys today. Bitcoin's running. Bitcoin is pumping again, and it feels so good. We got a lot of good stories for you. BNB, huge burn over the weekend. Binance continues to kill it. Zcash pumping to all-time highs. Is this privacy narrative something that has true legs behind it, or are we looking at a pump and dump? Pulse Chain, I'm seeing Pulse Chain all over my feed. I'm seeing big influencers talk about Richard Hart, PLS, Hex. Is Pulse Chain's time finally here? And we also have some surf-related news. Big airdrop incoming for everybody who is in the doubt. Get your 200,000 surf before that snapshot happening in about 1 hour from now. All right, well, first of all, how was your weekend, Nick? Did you do anything? Did you touch grass? Did you watch football? What happened with you this weekend?
Yeah, a couple things on the personal side. We had the finals for our golf league. So I was in a golf league every Monday for, 19 or 20 weeks, and they had a point system. So I got to the final four. The playoffs were yesterday, and I got second place in the league. So I got some cash in the pocket. Good to see. Couldn't take down first, lost by 2 strokes, but, we're getting there. And then as far as football, right when that was over, I posted to my subscribers, hey, I have a 3-team parlay. I missed the noon games, but for the 3 o'clock games, we're doing a 3-team parlay with Broncos, Colts, and Bucks. That was paying out 2.33 to 1, and that cleared with ease. So every $100 you put in turned into $233. So got some cash in my pocket yesterday, and now we're going to celebrate with some green candles today as well.
Bravo. Great work on the golf tournament. Glad to hear that. I'm not into gambling because, that's a vice, but you're apparently good at it. So, keep up the good work there. Hope you don't lose it all next week. I'm glad my Eagles won. I do not bet on the games, but I do watch my team religiously. We dismantled the Giants, a revenge game from the loss 17 days ago. Jalen Hurts is playing out of his mind. Eagles, I think, have a chance to go on a deep playoff run and maybe repeat as Super Bowl champions if they play at the form we saw them yesterday. So I'm feeling great. Feeling even better because I woke up today to green candles. And this is what we told you guys was going to happen, right? As soon as that CPI data came out last Friday, showing that we're only at 3% inflation coming in at under the expectation of 3.1, we knew the market was going to start pumping in advance of what? The rate cut on Wednesday of this week. 2 more days until Powell gets up there, announces a rate cut, all but guaranteed 25 base point. Perhaps we get a 50. I don't think so. But then what he says in the presser and then what he says about quantitative easing, or let's just say at the end of quantitative tightening, is going to make all the difference come Wednesday. But I think we have a nice little pump leading up to Wednesday. And so for me, I know October was tough, but there is a chance we end up green in October once again.
Yeah, and this is a cycle that is leaving behind all the 4-year having cyclist people. And the reason being is the old saying starts all the way earlier in the year. After a 14% green month in April, everybody said, well, the saying is sell in May and walk away. Well, how did that turn out? May, 11% green. Well, maybe it'll be June. June, 2.5%. Well, maybe July, 8%. Then we had a 6.49% August sell-off. September, back to green. Everybody said, oh, August was red. September's going to be red just like history, and then we'll have a bullish fourth quarter. September left you behind, plus 5%. And now October is flipping green once again. Obviously, there's still 4 days to go. A lot can happen. But just in our last live show on Friday, this was red. And we said, hey, guys, there's still a week to go. A lot can happen. And now we wake up this morning to October being green. Let's see if we have follow through with the QE, with the rate cut, and with everything else that is going on. But again, this is not your typical cycle. So many people have been left behind. So many people are sitting on cash. So many people want to buy a dip, and they're just not going to get it. And now those same people have told themselves, well, the top is in, or the top will be in November, so I'll just wait it out. I'll buy in a year from now. I don't think the top comes in Q4 2025. I think we hit new highs into 2026, maybe even Q2 of 2026 for Bitcoin, which will leave potentially even a bullish Q3 for altcoins in 2026. Now, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but I think this is just a good framework. Sell in May and go away didn't work. And then it followed up with 2 more green candles. And then we had a rare green September. And now October flipping back green. So all the doubters, all the disbelievers left sitting on cash while crypto is starting to pump.
That's what you get for questioning this asset class, you jeets. Stop selling. Start holding. Start thinking about a 10-year time horizon, not the 4-year cycle, or I'm going to buy, when Bitcoin hits 50 grand, because in your mind, it's definitely going to dump that much, right? Yeah, you're going to be wrong, folks. Glad I held through the shit in early October. The lack of October we had. I think that was a combination of non-believers, or those who still believe in the 4-year cycle, selling all their bags because it's over, right? You had also big whales sort of waking up again. That's a story that we've been following for a while now. Guys sitting on $500 million of Bitcoin, they're selling. And then the Binance and the market makers manipulation, that big leverage flush out, that all happened, and that was a big part of it. But to me, the 4-year cycle's dead. Glad I held. Hope you guys held on too. I'll let you get to this in 1 sec. I do want to just give a shout out to everybody who's joined in. Good morning. Happy Monday. Welcome to the show, folks. Good question or comment goes here. Absolutely. Get on YouTube. Get yourself in the live stream. Get yourself commenting. You're going to want to do that because, A, it's fun to hang out and chat with us. At least I think so. But the other thing is we're giving away $1,000 every month now to the most engaged Crypto Paradise community members. So there's going to be 5 winners. This is the first month of it. I expect us to continue to do it because I think it's going to turn out well. But bottom line is this. Get engaged. Even if you can't tune in the live show, that's okay. Leave your comment on X, leave your comment on YouTube after the show's over. Get yourself into the Telegram, become a true community member, become active, and start winning every month. 30 days of winning, that's what we're calling this little campaign here. And so I appreciate you all jumping in, and I expect others to start participating here as soon as the word begins to spread.
Sounds like a plan. And another thing here, we got the bull market peak indicators. These have kind of called the previous tops in Bitcoin. 0 out of 30 have been hit. Yes, 0 out of 30 peak indicators have been hit so far, even with Bitcoin going to 125K. And the average progress telling you how far in this bull cycle we are, 53.37%. That is pretty wild to see considering the Bitcoin bull market's been going on for a year now off the $15,000 lows. And the average progress for all these top indicators is 53.37%. This to me is just another tool in the toolbox saying that, hey, the Bitcoin top isn't in. It's not going to be in 2025. And QE is going to send it, and Trump is going to send it into 2026 before we need to start taking profits off the table.
Yeah, I mean, again, the 4-year cycling folks out there, I think, are just ignoring the facts on the ground, right? They're looking at history, and history is a guide, right? Like, no one's sitting here saying that you should never look at history when you're analyzing the financial markets. That's not what we're saying. But I think what's more important is analyzing the here and now, right? Which shows you that rate cuts are happening. QE is going to start happening pretty soon, and they've stopped selling the treasuries. They've stopped selling the securities. They are going to start likely buying them up soon. So that's QE for you. You got Trump at the helm. He loves crypto. He loves this asset class. We have the comprehensive market structure bill likely to pass towards the end of this year or beginning of 26. We have the China FUD bullshit ending here soon. So, I mean, everything just lining up green. I like these indicators. These are, again, it's a data point. Everything's a data point in my mind, right? 4-year halving cycle, that's a data point. These indicators, data point. The macro situation, another data point. And you got to take all this information, sort of coalesce it in your mind and say, I'm going to hold here because I think markets are going higher.
Yeah, let's look why people are excited. We do see Bitcoin coming back up, breaking out above the triangle that we were watching, kind of invalidating the 5 waves down, getting back above the moving averages. So you see there's a bearish cross here, but this is a lagging indicator, and now the yellow line is already rounding back up. We would love for that to cross back above the red longer-term moving average and see this follow through. Now, this was, I was hesitant to get excited. It's still early in the day, but so far it's held. This was a Sunday pump, which I don't really ever like, low liquidity, but also a Sunday pump where Michael Saylor said he was buying Bitcoin. Remember, historically, 99% of the time when Michael Saylor buys Bitcoin on the weekend, it gives up all those gains on Monday. The couple weeks that he hasn't bought Bitcoin is when we actually had a sustained pump. So far, this could be an anomaly here. The inverse indicator of Michael Saylor could prove wrong if we can get some more green candles and follow through the remainder of this week.
Did Michael Saylor actually time his buy properly this time? That would be incredible. It almost
we'll
never
see.
happens.
Don't jinx it. It's still early in the day, but Trump can still do a press conference at 3.
Forget the day. I mean, it's early in the life cycle of Bitcoin. I think that's his sort of main theory here, which is it doesn't, if I'm holding this asset class for 10, 20, 30, 50 years, I don't really care whether I bought it at 115, 113, 110, 125. Like, if it's going to $1 million, then those differences become negligible. So shout out to Michael Saylor. He did buy, was it 44 mil? So he's finding ways to buy in. Let's see what happens on Wednesday here. I mean, I do think there is a chance that they go with the 50. There are certainly Fed governors out there who think the rates are too high. QT's been going on too long, and we're seeing that show up in a negative way in the job market. We're seeing that in a major way with auto loan delinquencies. So there are flashing sort of warning signs. Bank balance sheets are in trouble as well. There are flashing warning signs. But on the other side of it, you have, I guess, more traditional, Fed governors out there who don't want to move too quickly, don't want to do anything too abrupt, sort of are still worried about inflation, which, let's be honest, still is an issue. I know we're not at 8% inflation, but we're at 3%. I mean, it's not a great thing. So, my guess is they end up at the 25. That's what they'll agree on, and then they will start the QE, which is another big story here. So 50 would be great. I think 25 is also great. Bottom line is we're going to continue to run here, I think, well into 26. Whether we get the 25 or the 50, we're in good shape, guys.
Yeah, 25, in my opinion, is 100% happening. 50 would still be a surprise to the market. And we said, hey, if the CPI data comes in below expectations, that raises the probability of that 50 dramatically. And we did come in lower than the expectations. So I think there is a good chance of that happening. And if that kind of a jumbo cut happened, I think you're going to see some fireworks in the market. Obviously people are trading this, front running this, whatever, but it's about what happens sustainably as interest rate goes down and QE begins. And that tells you that there will be a lot more cheaper capital, a lot of money market funds, a lot of funds from gold profits will be rolling into Bitcoin, crypto, and these risk on assets in the stock market. I'm wearing the gold hat today because we've been talking about the rotation from gold to Bitcoin, and we see Bitcoin running from 103 to 115. Meanwhile, let's check in on gold here. Gold looking pretty ugly, back down to $44,000. You can see it topped here October 16th. Why is that important? Well, the top at 4,400 is exactly when we released the rotation video saying you need to sell all your gold and rotate into Bitcoin. That is going to be the direction of the market. Look at the date, October 16th. So where does that line up on Bitcoin's chart? I mean, this stuff isn't rocket science, guys. You just got to be earlier. The exact low on Bitcoin, October 17th. 103 to 115. The exact low on Bitcoin was October 17th. The exact high on gold was October 16th. One day to rotate from gold into Bitcoin. That's how the market is moving. That's how the participants are moving. And that isn't even the real people doing the rotation themselves, taking profits on gold and going to Bitcoin just yet. That is the trend is your friend. That is the history repeating itself, just like it did earlier this year in April, just like it did back in 2020 and 2021 as well. And that's why we believe that Bitcoin hasn't topped and Bitcoin will go higher for the remainder of this year and into 2026.
Yeah, the 80-day lag gold to Bitcoin is a well-established precedent, a well-established trend. It was all but inevitable to happen again this time, and lo and behold, it's happening again. Shout out to those guys working their butts off at the Frontier Fund who maybe they're watching the show or maybe they're just looking at the same signals, but I know they put in a long, hopefully around those lows. I don't know where they put in the long exactly, but they should be up big on that trade. So they got the short right when the market dumped. and I think they got this long right as well. And so we should be looking at that 2% returns per day on the last run of the Frontier Fund. That's well within the realm of possibility here. Maybe coming a little bit under that, maybe around the 1.5%, but we'll see how close they get to their goal of 2%. But that would have meant you guys made 30% a month in this last trading period here, which is incredible returns from my standpoint. So the Frontier Fund round 1, excuse me, that was actually round 2. That is now closing within the next day or two here, as soon as they close out this long, send everyone their money. And then we will be opening up, or they will be opening up another round 3, probably a week after, give them some time to rest, recover, whatever. And then they'll be opening up round 3. Folks can participate in that. But great opportunity for all those who hold 400,000 surf. Get yourself in the Dow, get yourself your 400,000 surf if you want to make passive income to the tune of 15 to 30% a month has been the historical precedent there on Frontier Fund. So good job, those guys.
Yeah, I mean, go grab some surf. Why is this interesting? Number one, this looks like we're starting a rounded bottom on surf here, and that's one of the benefits. Own 400,000 surf, get in the Frontier Fund, and been earning profits every 30 days that you can either compound, you can take out to pay real life bills, you can take out to buy more surf, Bitcoin, whatever you want. We see higher lows forming here on the surf, and what's interesting is this chart looks a lot like what? It looks a lot like the Peacock chart before it absolutely exploded. Now, not to say we're going to be able to mimic that, because Peacock put millions of dollars into their chart from their revenue, but Crypto Paradise is taking revenue and putting it into the chart. I mean, look at this. It almost mirrors it. You have this big run-up, consolidation, massive moonshot, and then this slow meandering down, and then boom, higher lows, explosion. It looks a lot like the surf chart. Now, we don't have millions to dump into the chart, but we are getting thousands and thousands of dollars for buys and burns from the Dow wallet, from projects launching, from the Frontier Fund. Crypto Paradise does have an investment in Frontier Fund. We use 25% of that to buy and burn the surf token, and also marketing deals. We use at least 25% of them to buy and burn the surf token over time as well. The Dow wallet has $2,000 worth of PLS. The No Expectation wallet is $6,000 worth of PLS. So there is capital there, and we'll keep supporting price. We'll keep creating deflationary pressure on the surf token. And while you wait, you're going to be making money off the surf token. You're going to be getting an airdrop is coming for holders today in 1 hour. So you need to go at least buy 200,000 surf right now, because in 1 hour there's going to be a snapshot for an airdrop of a new token called XXX that will be launching on Pulse Chain tomorrow. Simply own 200,000 surf. They take the snapshot in an hour. You'll get your first airdrop of the XXX token tomorrow. If you hold it enough period of time, you'll get a second airdrop of the XXX token. So you're going to get free money just by buying surf day one. So I think everything is poised, both from a rounded bottom perspective, the 400K to get Frontier Fund, the 200K to get in the Dow and the airdrop. Now is a great opportunity to buy into the surf token. And as we can see here on the dashboard, 3.5% of the total supply has already been burnt. And I think you're going to see these numbers go up very quickly. We're going to check this on Friday, and I would venture to believe that this might be close to 4% of the total supply being burnt. The reason being, all the reasons we just talked about, and also XXX will be buying and burning surf token based off their success as well.
Shout out to XXX. Love the founder over there. Actually, a former Dow member. He'll be getting back in the Dow soon enough. But out of the goodness of his heart, I mean, we were pressuring him to do an airdrop. He just wanted to do that to help out the community. I think he sees the value in Crypto Paris, what we're doing for crypto as a whole, Pulse Chain specifically. So thank you so much to the team over at XXX. Get your 200,000 surf, folks. Get yourself in the Dow. We already had 3 members, I think, joining this weekend. So they're paying attention. They're grabbing their surf, and they're getting poised for this airdrop. So good on them, and thank you guys for joining up. Hope you're watching the stream as well. I know Remba's watching the stream. He's also watching the gold and Bitcoin chart. Interesting trendline and resistance levels. I mean, we already commented on that. I don't really own any gold, so I couldn't sell any to buy Bitcoin, but fortunately I own a decent amount of Bitcoin. So, happy about that. But yeah, we said this rotation was going to happen. It's always happened in history. It makes perfect sense. Gold is sort of the old school store of value. It's the old school hedge. Okay, so went on a big run during times of a bit of uncertainty, the tariff fears, etc. That eventually rotates into new school gold, aka Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is a lot more explosive, moves a lot faster, lower liquidity. Well, they added 10 million in the gold market cap in a matter of 30 days or 60 days or something like that. If we add a mere 2 trillion, Bitcoin's price will double. So just bear that in mind, and then we'd end up with that nice 244K top that Hitman's been talking about for a year plus now.
Yeah, Bitcoin 244K leads Ethereum to 22,000, which sends altcoins absolutely soaring. Also, a network that owns a lot of Ethereum is Pulse Chain, and we are seeing green over the weekend. Pulse Chain up again in the past 24 hours, 6%. PulseX up 4, Inc up 4, and Hex up 5.3. Now, what's interesting about this is on Friday, if you tuned in, we talked about the inverse head and shoulders forming on Pulse Chain, a bullish formation there. And what do you know? There's your left shoulder, there's your head, there's your right shoulder, there's the neckline. Look what happens when it breaks the neckline. Absolute explosion. And why is this important? We've been saying since all the way back here, since September, this green line is the all-important line. It's the all-seeing line if you want to see gains on Pulse Chain. It got rejected here, and we went all the way down to the white line. Again, this is the YOLO white line. If you fall below this white line and you continue to hold down there, it is a complete failure for Pulse Chain. The bulls battled, creating an inverse head and shoulders, and now we have rallied straight into this green line once again. Consolidation as low as here is okay, but we want to see us get above this green line impulsively with volume and green candles. Richard Hart, if you're listening, I don't know if this is you pumping this, but, pump it once it gets to the green line. Please just dump a couple million in and get some momentum, because if that happens, well, we head up to the targets up here around 7,000, and then you have a golden Fibonacci level at 7,500. So we're keeping these levels in mind, because if this happens, this is probably where we're going to look to maybe take some profits, maybe do some holding of the Dow funds in USD instead of PLS from the Surf Dow, and just some levels you might want to take some profits on other assets on Pulse Chain as well, as this would be a stopping point. Not saying this is the top for the cycle, but this is a level where it would make a lot of sense to consolidate, and maybe where our strategy for the Surf Dow would need to shift. But that is what is coming, guys, and that is big. Up 102% off the lows. Let's see what the measured move is from current price up to even just the bottom of the red target zone. That's another 102% gains, so another double up on Pulse Chain. What do you think happens to Surf and PTGC in Rome if PLS, the largest asset on Pulse Chain, does over a double? I think they're going to go a lot higher due to liquidity bonding, due to speculation, due to momentum, and due to morale.
Well, I'll tell you what, this Pulse Chain pump here is not just random out of the blue. This is being engineered by Richard Hart himself. Obviously, we know he moved, $600-700 million worth of Ethereum out of the SAC wallet, moved it through Tornado Cash. What happened thereafter is anyone's guess, but my guess is he started to buy up PLS. The other thing, it seems like he may be doing, or perhaps this is organic, I don't know, a lot of different influencers, big name influencers in the space. I'm seeing all of a sudden talk about Pulse Chain all kind of at the same time. Guys who I didn't even think they were even in altcoins, let alone Pulse Chain, which is relatively obscure, right? I saw Ted Pillows talking about it. I think I saw Rand Nooner talking about it. Ivan on Tech's been talking about it. The list goes on. Big names in crypto are talking about PLS, and they're talking about Hex. Once again, did Richard Hart pay them to talk about it through some of that SAC money? I don't know. Maybe it's just pumping, and he did the whole in real life marketing a few months ago. That sort of maybe set the stage a little bit, got in people's minds again. Then the SAC wallet move, that's a big story. And then now the chart is looking green. PLS and Hex are up. So maybe the influencer is talking about it organically. But I love to see it. OKX did that story as well. I mean, there's a lot of positive momentum behind Pulse Chain right now. Sleeping on it doesn't seem like a smart move. I'm glad I have a bag. I'm glad we're in a bunch of Pulse Chain assets. I think it's going to outperform this cycle for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about on Friday, OKX, we found that article they did, and it was very bullish on Richard Hart, Hex, Pulse Chain, and PulseX kind of setting a precedent, beating the SEC in court. And we were talking about maybe OKX lists. Then MEXC is green light to list. And now all of a sudden, all these influencers are talking about it. I even did a little tweet, said, let me tell you a short story via images. Don't fade the hitman onboarding to Pulse Chain. Jason A. Williams, an OG to Bitcoin, has like 270,000 followers, a big Bitcoin OG, but does dabble in altcoins, says, bringing it all over to Pulse Chain, fuck Solana. And I replied to him, this may be satire, this may be real, but if you need help with Pulse Chain, hit me up. And he did go ahead and like that tweet to him. Then I looked at his profile. He does follow me. And another one, here we go. I said, my man, instead of putting GPC to BSC, let's ship it to PLS. GPC is his own token over on Solana, kind of the creator rewards, and he gives back to charity. He's been talking about moving it to BSC due to, CZ and everything going on over there. And I said, let's ship it to Pulse Chain instead, and he liked that one as well. So, again, this is just one influencer, but this goes with the topic that Crypto Amaru was talking about. And don't fade Crypto Hitman, don't fade Crypto Paradise, because we have been here for a long time. That means some of the OGs in the spaces do follow us, do see our comments, do like our comments. And we talk about Pulse Chain almost every live show. We really talk about Ethereum, BSC, and Pulse Chain because that's where we live. That's where we've had a lot of success over the years, and that's where we believe we're going to continue to have success.
Yeah, man, great work engaging with Jason. That's super cool. Love to hear that. But yeah, Pulse Chain has been sort of a hidden gem for a long time. I don't know how much longer, right? Because it only takes, what, $4 or $5 million. I mean, if Richard Hart just dumped a couple mil into the chart, I think we start to see massive green candles. I don't think he's really done that yet. Maybe he's trickling some in. Maybe he's doing a bit of market making, buying the dips, buying at support. Who knows? But it only takes him moving over a decent chunk of that 600, 700 million, and we're looking at absolute fireworks. Martin would be disappointed with a 2x on Pulse Chain. I kind of would too. I mean,
that's only target number one, guys. You understand things don't go straight up forever. That's the first fib level where it's like, hey, you might want to look to take profits or rotate to other things or whatever. Like, just, target one, that would be a good level. Like, if Richard's looking at fibs or just mental, human nature, you go up there, everybody's euphoric, holy cow, we're parabolic, and that's where we stop and have, a month consolidation, the 25% downturn that you see in all market cycles, and then that's where everybody gives up on Pulse Chain again, and you start ripping and roaring to the upside again.
Yeah, because if this cycle is going to play out like 21, right, where you have those 4 or 5 months of basically all altcoins going insanely parabolic, then we're gonna see Pulse Chain within the top 50 of crypto assets at that point, and it's going to go much higher than a 2x. So yeah, if that happens, if the stars align with the QE and the rate cuts and everyone getting risk on, which seems like that is what's going to be happening here, folks, then Pulse Chain is going much higher than a 2x. So are most of your other bags. So hang on here. And in the meanwhile, smash the like, share, and subscribe. We are giving out $1,000 a month for those 5 most active and engaged community members. So do it for the fun, do it for the education, do it for the alpha, the calls, whatever, but also do it for the cold hard cash. Get yourself engaged on Crypto Paradise. Let's build the channel together. What other stories you got in the kitty today?
Yeah, we got to talk about BNB and why it continues to be one of the best performers. Yes, you did not read this incorrect. The 33rd quarterly BNB token burn has been completed directly on BNB Smart Chain, BSC. 1.44 million BNB has been burnt. Not $1.44 million. 1.44 million tokens worth $1.6 billion burned just from revenue that Binance and Binance Smart Chain produced in the past 3 months. I mean, my gosh, Binance makes more money than Coinbase. People are like, well, why don't they go public? I hope they never go public because they are a proof that you can be Web3 with a token and you don't need a publicly traded stock asset. You don't need it. Build in the token economics into the actual token. The equity in the business is derived into the token itself because you're using revenues to buy and burn that token. And people say, well, I don't like burns or burns don't work. Over time, they work. And this is the biggest example of them working. Look at this. Again, this is just on the 4-hour chart. You can see that BNB is up 91% since June, just absolutely ripping. Another buy and burn has occurred, and what do you know? Price back up above $1,150. If you zoom out to the weekly on BNB, I mean, my gosh. Back in the 2017, this was the top when Binance was listed here on Binance itself. What do you know? Went from less than $1 straight up to 20. Then back to 5, then to 35, then down to 5 again, and then up to 600. We all thought 600 was crazy last cycle. But right now, we're telling you the cycle is just beginning, and we're already hit a high of $1,300 on BNB. How high do you think it goes this cycle? And I mean, if they're burning 1 billion, 2 billion BNB every quarter, and we're saying, hey, there still might be 1, 2, 3 quarters left in the cycle, I don't know how high this thing can go.
Let's go CZ out here printing millionaires. Imagine you bought that thing at 50 cents. Imagine you bought it in the ICO. And I'm sure plenty of folks did but didn't hold. But those who did have life-changing money in their pockets now. Shout out to CZ. Showing the whole market how it's done, right? Between the meme season that he single-handedly engineered, and I think there's some legs there too, by the way, if this market starts to rip and roar again. The performance of BNB is just absolutely astonishing. It's probably the biggest winner since, the Ethereum ICO, if you're talking about altcoins. And, he's showing you how it's done with the buy and burns. I wouldn't be surprised if Binance eventually does go public and becomes a publicly traded company. Feels like the groundwork might be sort of getting laid there. CZ getting pardoned, Binance US stepping out and becoming more active again, to my knowledge. I wouldn't be surprised within the next, handful of years that eventually does happen. But right now, yeah, doing an amazing thing with the token.
Yeah,
Shout out to everyone who held it. I have some BNB. I do not have enough BNB. One of my big regrets of being in crypto. Should definitely have more of it, but great stuff, CZ. You keep printing millionaires, my friend.
It'll be interesting to see if they do go public, how that will functionally work. Because, will they continue to do the buy and burns like they said? Will, shareholders have to live with 10%, 5%, 20% of the revenue not going back towards shareholders or shareholder value, but actually going back towards token holders? Will the publicly traded stock, have a BNB reserve, meaning that with each share, not only do you get equity in the business, but there is BNB backing it, so you have BNB per share? That could be interesting and get everybody on the same level, because then you can say, hey, shareholders still benefit from the current token economics, because if BNB price gets bought and burned, BNB price goes up, and there is BNB per share that you're investing in as well. So we live in a new world in which a DAT, publicly traded Binance, could be hand in hand and benefit shareholders and Web3 token economics all at the same time. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out in the coming months and years, if in fact that ever became a reality.
It may be Binance US that would go public. I don't know. There's probably some regulatory hurdles or some logistical issues, like you mentioned, to overcome. But with Trump in the White House, with the comprehensive market structure bill coming out, perhaps that then provides sort of the groundwork and the architecture and the structure to allow a Binance to go public. I don't know. Pure speculation. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day for us degens. Just happy to see Binance doing well. Happy to see BNB doing very well. The buys and burns, they work. If you're a holder of BNB and you bought in early, your life has changed. And that's a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Yeah, this is also why we're very bullish on a lot of Pulse Chain assets, because buy and burns take time. You have ups and downs. Binance didn't just go straight up either. But over time, the floor keeps being bought up and raised because buy and burns driven by revenue. Same thing applies to Surf Token. Over 3.5% has already been bought and burned. That continues to go on. We see the same thing for PTGC. This is kind of how PTGC got to nearly $1 billion asset. I don't know what the high was, actually. I don't remember. It was close. It was up there. It's at 65 million right now. Buying and burning its supply. It's bought and burned 12% of its total supply. Remember, PTGC, we got involved with that at $1 million and $2 million market cap. And it started at a couple 100,000 market cap, just like Surf Token, and had its ups and its downs. But over time, the buy and burns, the LP ads, the user growth, the revenue, passive income generation continues to put in higher lows. And now this thing is at 65 million. Can you imagine? People want Surf to get to 10 million. PTGC is near its lows before Pulse Chain rips again, and it's sitting at 65 million. That's because PTGC had a 2-year head start. But a lot of the same token economics here are built into the Surf token. Surf also has the branding of Crypto Paradise and a real business that drives revenue. PTG has the advantage of the head start, thicker liquidity pools, and more volume generation. But, we always shout out PTGC because we made a lot of money. But also a lot of the token economic structures was kind of paved the way by these guys, and we're replicating that a lot with the Surf token. So hopefully one day we're sitting at a low of 65 million before the next leg up over on the Surf token.
Well, you know what it's going to take? It's going to take a concerted effort and a collective effort across the Pulse Chain community to just bring more people into Pulse Chain. Right? It's kind of crazy to think that one of the most popular and successful assets on Pulse Chain, PTGC, has a mere 16,000 holders. There's some memes on Binance that just do nothing, and they got 40,000 holders in a week. So there just aren't that many people on Pulse Chain yet. But if everybody takes a bit of time, maybe converts a friend over, we are giving out 10% bonus to DAO members who tell a friend about Surf. They buy in, get your 200,000 Surf. You're going to get your 10% bonus. In fact, Martin, I owe you some tokens. 20,000 tokens for your efforts there on the last DAO member coming in. Bottom line is this: everyone can make an effort. If PTGC's holder account doubles, Surf holder account double, that's how you reach that 120 mil, 500 mil market caps on Surf, hitting that 10, 20, 30 million market cap. You need more people coming to the asset class. I think everyone It's not just Richard. Everyone's got to make a bit of an effort there. We're doing our part, giving out our 10% bonus to DAO members. So tell a friend, tell a family member about Pulse Chain. It's highly undervalued, and I think it's going to explode this cycle. And you'll be very happy that you did, and so will they.
Yeah, and talking about projects working to onboard Pulse Chain people. Well, you got the Rome token here continuing to do well. Just finished another weekend tournament, and because of that, price surged up, and now you have this normal sell-off. And every time you see this, price surge, sell-off, next tournament, price surge, sell-off, next tournament, price surge, sell-off. So I expect that hopefully Rome, with the help of Pulse Chain, continues to buy its token back and gives it away in tournaments and continues to work its way higher. They do have non-Pulse Chain native partnerships in the GameFi sector of crypto. So everybody that is finding this game and playing it has to interact with Pulse Chain in some form or manner. Doesn't mean they got to full port their whole portfolio there. They just need a little bit of PLS and a little bit of Rome in their wallets. But that still means they need to add that network to MetaMask, get familiar with the chain, and maybe one day with green candles, because they are the best marketing, Richard Hart. Green candles are the best marketing. They've continued to add more of their portfolio to Pulse Chain, taking it from more than just, hey, I play this game that happens to be on Pulse Chain, to, hey, I already have Pulse Chain on the MetaMask network. Other Pulse Chain tokens are doing very well. Maybe I do need to full port some of my Solana, BSC, Ethereum holdings over to this chain and start dabbling in their altcoin ecosystem. So shout out to Rome, Gladiator Games for doing that. And of course, it's a micro cap, but we love seeing green candles in the slow grind up because, again, with the success there of this, it helps onboard other people to Pulse Chain, other wallets to Pulse Chain, which is what we need. We need the wallet counts to go up, and then their money can follow later.
You know, one reason I love Pulse Chain too, I like being early to things. And when you look at a Rome, for example, there's a mere 243 holders. Talk about being early. And that's where, of course, where most of the gains are had, right? We just talked about the Binance chart, right? Started at like sub $1, 50 cents or something like that. Talk about being early. You want to be early, I think. I mean, as some people may, I don't want to take the risk or whatever. I think there's risk in all crypto assets outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's plenty of risk, even in like a Solana, for example. There's still risk there. VCs with a lot of tokens dumping on you. Who knows what's going to happen in 5 years with some of these even, quote, non-risky plays. So there's risk everywhere. Why not take a little bit of extra risk, arguably, and be that early guy to Pulse Chain? Be that early guy to a Rome or a Surf or even a PTGC, only 16,000 holders, one of the best performing assets on the chain. So I like being early. Maybe it's dumb. I don't know, but it's worked for me. It's how I've had a number of 100x type returns in my portfolio, just being the early guy. Take a little bit of risk. You'll thank yourself later.
So we've kind of covered Bitcoin chart, the Bitcoin performance so far this October, teetering on being green once again. We covered Ethereum's outlook. We believe that it's going to go above 5,000 when that happens. That's when altcoins really, set off. I also believe that's when a lot of the Pulse Chain Ethereum that has been put through Tornado Cash doesn't get sold and moved to Pulse Chain until above 5,000. We talked about BNB, massive $1.6 billion burn. That is crazy, and that is just in the past 3 months. I mean, what else do we need to talk about? Remember, you have 37 minutes to go buy 200,000 Surf to get a free airdrop. Also join the DAO group when you do that. And remember, that token will launch tomorrow called XXX. That maybe you want to buy that at 20,000 market cap, but who cares? We're rooting for it to have success because it will be buying and burning a massive amount of Surf off the open market. Also, holders of XXX will receive reflections of the Surf token that are bought off the open market as well. So I think the burns are about to heat up on the Surf token and price performance as well. And we're rooting for XXX to do well because that means it will pump the Surf token with its success. Again, they approached us, said, hey, these are the token economics we set up. We like the Surf token. We see the value in the Surf token. We think it's undervalued. So we want to tie liquidity to it and help the Surf token pump so that it helps pump our XXX token. We said, all right, let's do it. So we're going to root for those guys because I like to see green candles on the Surf token. And I'm tired of being sub $1 million market cap. I want to be $5 million, $10 million, $20 million market cap on the Surf token. And I think it's going to happen very soon.
Yeah, maybe we can pull up the Twitter of XXX. I think that is a very solid project, so we can talk about it a little bit more. But I do want to give Martin his flowers here. Yes, early info. I mean, that's part of being part of the DAO is, we share with you guys some of the insights that we're learning from our various partners or projects that we're working with. We're sharing with you guys, and you can take action on it or not. I mean, people have made a lot of money from being in the DAO, and that's one of the benefits. Join for the earliest possible info. Absolutely. Yeah, so XXX came to us, right? And like I said, this was a former member of the DAO, Mr. Pulse Chain. Super cool guy. Honestly, we've been on like 4 or 5 calls with him. Got to know him on a personal level, which I think is important. Extremely hardworking. I mean, this guy single-handedly sort of put this whole project together, and just working his tail off. I mean, I checked, the Telegram the other day. He's still up at 2, 3 a.m. just grinding away, working on this project, which you just love to see the passion, the energy. I wish I still had that kind of energy, if I'm being honest. But great to associate yourselves with those who are working very, very hard. I also love the branding, right? If you go, you can see here a lot of pulse chain imagery, but very unique with the Playboy vibe, triple X. I mean, who doesn't love that? And then, of course, the token economics with the auto LP ads, the auto burns, auto buybacks of Surf, auto buybacks of triple X. I mean, the token economics very well thought out. High sell tax, very high sell tax. I think around 20% sell tax. Obviously, benefits holders, benefits the long term of the project, but high sell tax for you Jeets out there who are looking to buy and sell quick. You will pay a bit of a price, but I think it's poised to do very well. The founder knows a lot of people on the Pulse chain. He's super passionate, very hardworking. I think this one should really quite do well, starting at a $20,000 market cap.
Yeah, we'll see how the launch goes. Again, the token economics are there, and those are kind of similar and known on the tax ecosystem in Pulse chain. But what will be interesting is they're taking a unique LP situation. So they're going to have their Pulse PLS liquidity. They're going to have a very big Surf liquidity because Surf is going to be kind of the reflection reward. So if you hold triple X, you're going to get Surf based on the trading volume, which is really cool. We like that. But they're doing LPs with some pump.tire tokens. They've done essentially CTOs and meme tokens where they can take a large portion of the supply, meaning if those pump.tire tokens can bond, it should send immense amount of volume, speculation, and price appreciation for the XXX token. So we'll see how this strategy plays out. It's the first, to my knowledge, trying this. And we're on board because we like to be early and see what happens. 20,000 initial market cap, very low risk there. And this new strategy plus benefiting Surf, we're rooting for it to actually play out. Because remember, all the volume, whether it's the Surf pair or these other pump tire tokens, a portion of that is being directed back to benefiting Surf and Surf token holders, which we're going to love to see over time. So shout out to these guys and stay tuned. Tomorrow will be the test. Remember, day one is just the beginning. You got to take a look at it 2 weeks later, 1 month later, 3 months, 6 months later, and see if it can continue to build floor prices, continue to burn tokens, and ingratiate itself into the holder base of Pulse Chain.
Martin confirms the founder is very hardworking, responding to messages in the middle of the night. Love to see that. Yeah, I do think it's going to perform well over time. I'm expecting some fireworks tomorrow, some big volume. There are a bunch of whales in there, Pulse Chain whales that the founder knows. So my guess is, you get some fireworks, you get that initial pump followed by that initial sell-off, finds a bit of a floor, and then can move up from there. But everyone in the Surf DAO who holds that 200,000 Surf, you are getting not one but 2 airdrops of the triple X token, assuming you can hold your first airdrop. So pretty clever structure there. You get your 25,000 triple X tokens just because the founder, out of the goodness of his heart, is doing that for you DAO members. Love to see that. And if you hold those tokens for 200 days, you'll get your next batch of 25,000 triple X tokens. So again, love to see that. Get paid just to own Surf. And that is how we win together, folks.
Yeah, shout out to the 191 people already watching on Twitter and the handful of people already watching on YouTube. Thanks for being here during the live show. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, charts you want us to look at, do it now or forever hold your peace. Otherwise, we're probably going to wrap this up and move on to the next things for the day. But, man, we covered a lot to talk about. I mean, interest rate cuts are imminent. A trade deal is potentially imminent. QE imminent. Charts breaking out. Did Michael Saylor finally time Bitcoin right, or will we see a sell-off the remainder of this day? I mean, we got to see here. But a lot going on, and I think you're going to start to see some green candles and fireworks on Pulse Chain, PTGC, and, of course, the Surf token for all the reasons we have dove into during this live show.
Before we jump, I just want to follow up on one topic that we touched on briefly earlier, and that is the $1,000 per month we are giving away to the top 5 most engaged community members. Perhaps you can just pull up that tweet real quick. It just went out this morning, I believe. But it's really simple, guys. Be engaged, and by that we mean joining these live streams or commenting on the recording, joining the Telegram, being a real community member. saying good morning, whatever the case may be. That's all it takes to put you in the running to win yourself your share of monies. It's going to be split between Surf and PLS. So you get your little bag of Surf, your little bag of PLS. For anyone who's new watching this show now, my expectation is we will continue doing this month in, month out as long as it goes well and we're seeing some good growth and some new people joining up. That's what we want to see. I think we're putting out some great content. We just got to spread the word. So this is sort of step one. Step two is going to be activating some additional influencers in and around the Pulse Chain community, perhaps outside of the Pulse Chain community. That's been in the works for a while. We're just waiting for the right time to pull the trigger on that. But this is sort of phase one of this little marketing campaign. Let's see where it goes. So hopefully you guys are getting locked in. You're like, sharing, subscribing, you're commenting, you're engaging, you're in the Telegram. That's how you win the monies. And let's keep winning together, folks.
Win the monies. Love it.
Simple as that. We've been in the space long enough. I think we know what sort of moves the needle. People like to make money on their investments. People like to make money on their airdrops. And then people, I think, also like to have a bit of a good time and, talk about the markets, think about the markets.
You know what was in the title and we didn't talk about? So we got to talk about that real quick. That is the privacy sector. And it just keeps blowing your mind. It blows our mind so much that we almost forgot to talk about it. The ZEC Zcash, the forgotten privacy coin of 2017 that was in the shadows of Monero, literally going to go to a new all-time high before Ethereum. It tried to this weekend. It tried taking out the 2021 highs that we saw. Ethereum still hasn't done that, besides maybe a wick, and that's exactly what Zcash did again as well. Wicking up to the 2021 highs of $375. Now, after Ethereum did this, it consolidated, so maybe Zcash needs to consolidate and go back to the $180 level. Or maybe it's going to consolidate and beat Ethereum's performance by getting to new all-time highs first. I hope that isn't the case, but my gosh, the privacy ecosystem continues to be talked about by many, but invested in by the few. And this chart, Zcash has done something like a 4x in the matter of a month. That is absolutely amazing to see. Shout out to everybody who holds Zcash. Shout out to everybody who still believes in privacy. One of the main reasons people got into crypto to begin with, because your privacy all over the world is deteriorating. I mean, in Europe, they're trying to make you have a digital ID just to work and pay more taxes. Europe's a shithole, so at least the United States has some semblance of privacy. But ours is dwindling as well. We're not going to get CBDCs, but we are going to get stablecoins. And maybe Zcash is the final straw in order to shield your wallets. With that, the Zen chart has looked textbook. Following in the footstep of ZEC would send Zencash above $20 into the 40s. And we can see it broke out of this multi-month consolidation. Perfect breakout, perfect retest, and now strength once again back to $14. The measured move target one, $20 on Zen. So does Zen follow in the footsteps of Zcash? Does Barry Silbert pump your bag by posting about it? Having grayscale investors pile into privacy protocols? Well, we hope so. We do own some Zen. We don't own very much Zcash. But shout out to everybody. Shout out to this narrative. And we've been here along the way taking a trade. And we were the ones left behind holding the cash bag while ZEC continues to go up to the moon.
That's why you hold, folks. That's why you hold. Because when you're in one of these momentum trades, and I think that's absolutely what the Zcash phenomenon has become. I don't know if it's because the whole crypto space just loves privacy all of a sudden. Like, I don't think people give a shit about privacy. They're here to make money. It almost just becomes a meme in and of itself. It's a momentum trade. It's the asset that's pumping right now amidst kind of a languishing market. And so people are just piling into it. This is a reminder to me that this is the kind of thing that can happen to any asset as long as the stars line. This could happen to PLS. Right? Why did this kick off? Well, this kicked off allegedly because some big Bitcoin whales started to buy a shit ton of it. And then they hired a bunch of influencers to talk about it. And the charts started going up and then retail piled in because retail likes to buy momentum trades because, price go higher. So those stars can align on any number of different assets in the crypto space. So it's a couple of whales coming in, marketing campaign kicks off, more whales followed by retail. And all of a sudden, you're doing 4x in a month. So this could happen to any asset, guys. Do not fade Zcash. Do not fade many of your blue chips, because I think we could be talking about a different coin and a different narrative next month that's doing a 4x in a month.
Yeah, 4x in a month, 10x since August for Zcash, outperforming literally everything, even BNB. Yeah, I mean, that's wild, and nobody was talking about it. So, I mean, we got to try to find the next narrative, the next plays. Obviously, once Zcash did this move, it's a very large cap. And it doesn't really have tooling. It's just privacy cash. So we looked towards protocols. Hey, what other privacy protocols might take off? That's why we picked up Zen down here in this consolidation period at $7, at $6, at $6, live on this air at 940, and now it's at 14. So it hasn't done a 10x, but it's already done about a 3x, and we hope it continues to play catch up to ZEC if that privacy narrative continues to remain strong.
I would love to see it, man. I think privacy is a worthwhile topic. It's a worthwhile narrative. I just don't know if, like, that's why most people bought this coin, right? They're like, oh, yeah, price so important. And it is, no, they bought it because price go higher. But,
green candles, great marketing. Green candles.
Great. Although, to be fair, like, I personally haven't seen a lot of tweets about ZK. I mean, it's popped up in my feed here and there, but it was more about the price in the chart. Like, look what like the Wiz, right? He's like, look what I did. I called it here and now it's here. I don't think anyone was like, we're buying this because Europe is taking away our freedoms and we need privacy in our lives and this digital ID thing is a horrible policy. I didn't see anyone talk about that. It's just privacy, price go higher, yay. Like, I don't know. Crypto still is a lot about momentum and just sort of narratives that aren't based in much of anything. But I digress. I don't want to be a skeptic asshole. I didn't get a trade in on Zcash, so maybe I'm just bitter. But shout out to everyone who did. Shout out to Nick who called it in the private group. Another reason to join the private group of Learn Crypto too, guys. Like, if you want to make money on these trades, I know Martin's in there. A bunch of our followers at Crypto Paradise are in there. Learn Crypto is doing very, very well. So you can make money Learn Crypto. You can make money Crypto Paradise, Frontier Fund, airdrops coming left, right, and center. I mean, I don't know. I just think Crypto Paradise, let's look back in a year from now. I think we're going to be much, much bigger, and the surf token is going to be much, much higher.
Yeah, it's just step by step, gain by gain, and then you have to have benevolence from Crypto Paradise where we take some of our revenue and put it into growing the brand, like the $1,000 giveaways, take it into buying and burning the surf token, and take it to buying and adding LPs of the surf token. So that's what we're trying to do, and we are sitting on some no expectation cash, so we want to do a full marketing campaign. It's just, we need to figure out where on Pulse Chain, how on Pulse Chain we bring value via KOLs, via speculation, via getting on live shows, and that happens when Pulse Chain starts getting green candles, altcoins start doing well, and then we can start making appearances on many of the Pulse Chain influencer channels and try to bring non-Pulse Chain native KOLs to Pulse Chain and getting themselves some surf bags. So that's what we're trying to do, and we feel good doing it because we understand that surf isn't just a meme coin. It has built-in token economics that give it floor prices, that buy and burn it, that buy an LP at it, and that has real revenue. That's why it's real easy to talk about the surf token. Is it going to be the best performer on a daily and weekly basis? No, but we know each and every day that there's less and less tokens in total supply, and that more and more revenues are coming in the door to help pump that thing over time.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of timing something like that. You need Pulse Chain to be consistently going up. I know we've had green candles over the last, couple days. Let's see consistent green candles. Let's see us break up out of that line that Nick's been talking about for a while there. And let's see it reach, maybe that 2x, right? And then you got a lot of excitement in Pulse Chain. You have more holders. You have more people looking to speculate and buy different bags. If you're going to do a big marketing campaign right now, and hell, Richard Hart knows this too. People are, first of all, they're married to their bags. They're probably already cut down a lot of their dead weight. They're holding just what they like. They don't want to sell it at a loss. And a lot of things are underwater from relative to where they bought it. So you just sort of need the market to creep up, break up out of some downtrends, and then people might speculate, and then looking for that next big thing. And Surf will be sitting in there looking them right in the face.
I agree. I think we covered a lot today. Make sure to watch the replay. Let's see if Zen wants to follow Zcash. Let's see if Ethereum finally wants to work its way over $5,000 as QE starts, and then altcoins begin. Remember, Richard himself said, people don't like selling things cheaper than they bought it. So him himself is not going to start selling ETH until 5,000. And many people aren't going to start selling their conviction altcoins, like Crypto Amaru just said, to chase other speculative assets, including Surf, PTGC, and others. They want to see green. They want to feel good, pat themselves on the back, and then they'll rotate. Just like all the people are rotating from gold to Bitcoin, others will rotate from other altcoins into new altcoins, into undervalued altcoins, into rounded bottom altcoins. It's the way of the world. It's going to happen, and we're going to continue to try to position ourselves to be on the receiving end of those green candles to come.
Absolutely. And I think we're all the same way, and then we can wrap this up. No one wants to sell at a loss. Like, I hate taking losses. It's the worst. And sometimes you have to. Sometimes, all right, this project's a scam. It's dead. It's never coming back. Just take the loss, move on, try to make up somewhere else. But a lot of times, you like this project. Still active. Community is great. Token economics, whatever the case may be. But the price is down from where you bought it because, you bought it during an uptrend, and, now we're in a bearish period. Who knows? But you don't want to sell at a loss. That's how you like not make money in the markets. Buy low, sell high, and then find someone else that's low, run that up, and sell again. Like that's the name of the game. So I get it. I don't want to sell at losses either. I think we just got to continue to be patient. If you're in altcoins, I know it's been a slog. It feels like the longest bear market for altcoins because it is. It's been essentially a 2-year bear market for altcoins. If you look at that chart, I think relative to Bitcoin. So, it's been a really, really tough few years. Eventually, things are going to turn around, though, guys. And for everyone who held on, think about those ZEC ATHs investors. Think about those guys. I mean, that was in a downtrend for a couple of years, too, I'm sure. And then all of a sudden, 10x in a month because stars aligned. So, continue to be patient. Understand where we are in the cycle. QE is about to come. We got the rate cut coming on a Wednesday here. I just think we're poised for a big end of the year and into 26, and you will be glad you held on to your high conviction altcoins because that is how you make those 10, 100x's and retire on the beach.
I think that's about it. Send us off. Send us off to the beach. I need to go touch some grass. What do we got going?
He went on a golf tournament yesterday. He's ready to touch grass again. I guess he's living the good life over here, crypto paradise. But great stuff today, guys. Tell your friends and family about the contest we got going on. $1,000 up for grabs every month. And until tomorrow, same time, we will see you guys on the beach.